Hi, and welcome back to Let's Get Medical. In today's video, as part of our series on neuroanatomy, we'll be discussing the dorsal column medial lemniscus tract, also known as the DCML tract. So what is the DCML? Well, it is one of the ascending spinal tracts, meaning it takes sensory signals from the peripherals to the brain. The DCML is the tract responsible for the sensations of fine touch, vibration, and proprioception. Proprioception is the position of the body and limbs in space. It does this via two pathways called the Fasciculus Cunatus and the Fasciculus gracilis. Fasciculus Cunatus is responsible for the sensory information above the level of T6, whereas the Fasciculus gracilis is responsible for anything below the level of T6. In this diagram on the right, the areas covered by Fasciculus Cunatus are in blue, and the areas covered by Fasciculus gracilis are coloured in red. The pathway is a 3-neuron pathway, and a lesion anywhere along it will result in specific pathology. Here you can see a section of the spinal cord and the respective positions of the two fasciculi. This is important for orientating yourself and when discussing pathologies within the spinal cord. Let us now move on to the pathway of the DCML tract. Again, the fibres of Fasciculus Cunatus are in blue, whereas the Fasciculus gracilis are in red. The first order neurons enter the spinal cord carrying sensory information from the peripheral nerves. These signals originate from the cutaneous receptors present in the skin. These first order neurons enter the dorsal column, where they then ascend to enter the medulla oblongata. There they synapse with their nuclei, nucleus cunatus and nucleus gracilis respectively. Here, the second order neurons arise from these nuclei, forming the second part of the pathway, the medial lemniscus. It is at this stage they decussate to the contralateral side. These neurons then ascend to the thalamus in the cortex, where they synapse with the third order neurons. The cell bodies of the third order neurons lie in the thalamus. They then ascend to the relevant areas in the somatosensory cortex, terminating the tract. Based on the sensory homunculus, the third order neurons of the Fasciculus Cunatus will synapse more laterally, whereas the one for the Fasciculus gracilis will synapse more medially, close to the longitudinal fissure. Now that you know the anatomy of the DCML tract, we can discuss what occurs when there's a lesion. A common pathology involving the DCML is Brown-Séquard syndrome. It occurs when there is a complete hemisection of the spinal cord. This is usually secondary to trauma, such as a stab wound or a car accident. It severs the two fasciculi, which causes ipsilateral loss of proprioception and vibration. Another tract affected by this lesion is the Spinothalamic Tract, which results in the other half of symptoms in this syndrome, namely a contralateral loss of pain and temperature. The reason these sensations are lost contralaterally is due to the Spinothalamic Tract decussating in the cord as opposed to higher up the central nervous system. To learn more about the Spinothalamic Tract, our video on it will be linked in the description box. This concludes our mini medical neuroanatomy video on the DCML tract. If you'd like to see more of our videos, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment on what other topics you'd like us to cover.